we have a problem in the care sector that younger people are harder and harder to attract into a frontline care role. We've seen this over tracking this data for years, that both the volume and the percentage of younger people entering the frontline care role is dropping relentlessly. And there are a range of factors which we've touched on earlier that are causing this. But there is a pattern when you look at the amazing younger care workers that are scattered across a wide range of services. Often some of the best frontline care staff we've got are wonderful younger people. And the question, of course, in my mind is why? And so every time I have found a younger person in a frontline care role and I can talk to them, I ask them what attracted them into the sector. And we've done this repeatedly. And I've talked to other providers to double check my findings. And we find commonly 5 broad groups, traits, characteristics of younger person that succeed and love the role. And I think it's very important we understand this, because as individual providers, we have limited resources to recruit. So attempting to attract broad swathes of younger people into our own organisation has a limited return on investment. So we need to be smart about who we go after. So I'd like to tell you about those 5. I think the most obvious one you may find is that those people, younger people who have a parent or some relation already working in a paid care role, for example as a manager or even a frontline worker themselves. So they have acceptance and awareness of social care, and they know the intrinsic rewards of the role from seeing firsthand the experiences of their relative or parent. So that's one group where people are more aware of social care and a frontline care role than you would otherwise be. The second group are those that have cared for a loved one. Maybe their mother or father has been sick or ill and needed some kind of caring within the family, or they have a sibling with a disability. This is very common routine for people. They see the value of caring. They had no choice. They didn't ask to do this, but they've had experience of frontline care and they've seen the rewards of doing it, and therefore much more likely to consider it. The third group are those looking for a career, typically in nursing, but also maybe in physiotherapy or an allied health profession. So they are entering a caring profession, but their focus is on healthcare rather than social care. And so they won't be with you forever, but when they are with you, picking up skills and experience, then they can be some of the best care staff that you have. We do find as well a larger group, harder to understand initially, but what we found was there's a common theme that they've had some kind of tragedy, trauma, crisis. Something has made them mature much faster than typical younger person. And that could be an example where their parents had died, for example, or they'd been brought up in care, they'd been fostered or adopted, or they're brought up in a care setting themselves, and they hunger for a family environment, and that's one of the advantages of social care workforces. It's very much more collegiate and a family type environment. So they've had some sort of tragedy or maturing event. And then the final group are really what we would see as personality driven. So they have some kind of personality trait where they are so cheerful, helpful, they just want to help others, and they're really engaged and called to often a profession like beauty or some kind of customer facing, hairdressing potentially, some kind of customer facing role, not necessarily care. And we find they might accidentally discover care, for example, by hairdressing in a care home. Something has made them connected with care that they wouldn't have otherwise thought of. And so it's this group of people often doing a job that they would be much happier in social care if only we could reach out and find them. And a classic example we'll talk about later is placing your job advert not on an internet job board, not just in the care section, but also in beauty, hairdressing and other related professions where people who might not be thinking of social care might see it. So, an activity for you now. Think about those people who are under 25 in your in your frontline care workforce, if you have any, and go and ask them what was their motivation, what attracted them into the sector, and see if it fits with one of my 5 characteristics that we've just described. And you'll be surprised, in many cases, you'll find it will.